100th time is the charm. That's what we're hoping for. 100th time is the charm. Let's see. Let's see. Are we live? It looks like we're live. We are live. Finally. All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Let me chair up. Ghetto. Alrighty. Good to see the belly. Welcome everyone. Vigilante Williamson here. This is episode 1 of the Good News Show. Technically, it's the second episode. My first episode was earlier this morning or last night, 3 a.m., episode 0. I'm still working out the kinks as a content creator, especially as a live streamer. I think I am going to do some recorded content. The nature of my channel is probably going to be different from this show. This show is to act as a palate cleanser for the whole day. As you can see, I'm in a mask. I know this is a very ghetto mask. It's just a combination of things just to hide my face. I considered the Spider-Man, before, the wrestling era mask where he had the terrible costume. I didn't actually see Homecoming because I didn't want to see Spider-Man as a kid again and as a sidekick in his own movie, so I didn't actually see that movie. But that first costume, that's what this is supposed to kind of be until I can afford a quality mask. As far as this show, as you know, as a fellow Earthling, the world is crazy. The news sucks. So I figured I would offer a palate cleanser. So I'm going to read a few positive news stories, and that's pretty much it. And if anyone shows up, I'll interact with them. Let me actually get like I said, I'm not technically a boomer by age, but by my use of live streaming, I'm basically a boomer. So bear with me. Bear with the technical difficulties as I move away from the mic to check out the chat. No one in the chat. No one really watching, but it's cool. Cool. So let's start off with the first positive news story of the day. This one's cool. I always like the volunteers. Hold on a second. Send on my laptop. Alrighty. Don't fall. Okay. I always like these stories about volunteering, helping out in your community. I think that's the whole point of this show, to spread a little kindness. So it barely takes an hour out of my day. Meet the people spreading kindness. 3 people who gave up their time to help others during the coronavirus crisis. Okay, that's a laptop crash to the floor. Let's just get to the story. All right, the local helper, Naomi Empowers. Is that her name? Her name is Empowers. That's a crazy last name. Naomi Empowers, a single mother from West London, has always done charity work. But after being furloughed from her job as a business coach because of the pandemic, she has thrown herself into helping others. She raises her children, aged 5 and 7, alone. They go with her as she delivers prescriptions and shopping to people who can't leave the house. She said it provides a valuable lesson about the importance of community and recognizing that we are all connected, which I agree with. Empowers is also one of the more than 1 million people who signed up to be an NHS volunteer responder. For those in the States, the NHS is in Britain because she's based out of London. She is alerted when someone nearby needs help via an app called Good Sam. And if the family is able to, they spring into action. That's pretty cool. They're almost like superheroes, which is sort of like me, only they actually do stuff. A number of single-parent families who are struggling reached out to me, she explains. I put a post on social media to say we have some families who are not sure how they are going to feed their kids. Can we come together and help? Within the space of a couple hours, we had raised $200, and some volunteers had gone out to do the shopping. Food shopping. I cannot read through a mask. Because I have been doing that sort of thing independently anyway, I decided to sign up to the more organized response as well. I always think it could so easily be me, and I was in a situation where I didn't have the means or capacity to feed my kids. Then I would hope that someone would step up and try to help, and I tried to be that person for someone else. So that's really nice. So shout out to Miss Naomi Empowers in West London, who's helping other people during this pandemic. That's kind of an inspiring story. That's a very inspiring story, in fact. There's a few more charity stories, so let's get through them. And these are all based out of the UK. I think this positive news. I'm not sure if all this news is out of the UK as far as this website, but this story, I think these all are good old Britain. All right, Helen Wright has been volunteering with a local charity in York called Move the Masses, which encourages physical activity, something, as you can see, I could use a lot more of. Wright, who is self-employed, normally works in the sports industry on large-scale events such as the Cricket World Cup. She began volunteering January 2019 for the charity's walking buddy service called MoveMates, and was paired with an 87-year-old woman for short weekly walks. In March, because of the pandemic, they had to stop walking, and Move the Masses transformed the roles of their volunteers overnight. Wright says, "The charity is small but making a difference. More than 1,000 prescriptions have been delivered, and volunteers have made more than 600 calls or sent letters to check on the isolated, vulnerable people within the first 7 weeks of lockdown, as well as taking prescriptions to those isolating." Wright has also been writing weekly letters to her former walking partner, who is hard of hearing, so she can't speak on the phone. That's very sweet. "I have felt so much love from those I have dropped prescriptions off at, and had many doorsteps socially," and just butchering the English language. That's a great story. "I felt so much love from those I have dropped prescriptions off at, I felt so much love from those I have dropped prescriptions off at, and had many doorstep social distance chats because people are feeling more isolated than ever before. It's a nice feeling to get on my bike, cycle to the chemist," which is the pharmacist for us Yanks, "queue for prescription," which is standing in the line for prescription, just translating British to English, and drop it off. And it barely takes an hour out of my day to be kind. Wright also has a sense of community amongst volunteers. There's great camaraderie amongst the volunteers in the Facebook group I have never met, but we are all supporting the city during this strange time, she says. Okay, this is the last positive story. Well, not the last positive story we'll do. We got a few more, but last volunteer story for the this article. And last person. So what was the last person's name? Helen Wright. Shout out to you, Helen Wright. And now Gemma Harrop. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly. From Shropshire. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So Gemma Harrop from Shropshire has been working with patients hospitalized with COVID-19 as a higher therapy support worker, along with physiotherapists and occupational therapists. After dealing with a patient on the ward, I asked, was there anything they needed, such as a cup of tea, she said. "Oh, I just want something to read," Harrop explains. "It struck me that as we don't have any TVs on the wards we don't have any TVs on the wards and no visitors are allowed at the moment, how lonely it must be." Yeah, there's no TVs, no visitors. Jesus Christ, it's like jail. We managed to source a magazine for her, and she was just so happy. I thought that magazine can help make an afternoon a bit easier for her, and that's amazing. So Harrop began calling local publications as well as posting on social media if she can get donations for her ward. The response was huge. More than 500 items, including magazines, newspapers, and even coloring books have been sent, which she has distributed across several wards of the hospital. Everyone I called said yes, they are really writing to help in any way they could because of the current climate, she says. When I first was starting out, it made me a bit nervous that I was putting myself out there in front of my colleagues because I hadn't been there very long, but the feedback was very positive. The patients are going through a tough time at the moment. Not only do they not have their family, but even so, something as so small as getting a magazine to read is really huge. Again, these are really great stories. And that's, again, the point of this. Nice palate cleanser. I think we could always use a good news, and we could always use news like this that reminds you that people do want to help each other, and they actually are, we are connected, and we do care about each other at the core level. And great stories. All three of these stories pretty good. Pretty cool volunteer work. And speaking of volunteer work, here's a story about the science of volunteer work. This is a pretty cool article. And it's from the same site. The kindest things we do for each other right now is to be the kindest thing we can do for each other right now is to be present. Evidence suggests that an improved mood is a common side effect of being kind. Various studies attribute altruism with releasing endorphins in the reward part of our brains. Experts at Oxford University carried out a meta-analysis of such research last year and lent their support to the idea that altruism gives a mental boost. So it's good to be nice to people. Funny how that works. We found that helping does seem to be a causal effect on happiness, says Dr. Oliver Scott Curry, no relation to Steph, senior researcher at the Institute of the Cognitive Evolutionary Anthropology. Institute of Cognitive and Evolutionary Anthropology, who led the research. Other studies link kindness with improved physical health. Researchers at the University of North Carolina in the U.S. connect altruism with increased activity at the vagus nerves, which helps the body fight diabetes and heart disease. So kindness can actually impact heart disease and diabetes. Cool, so I can just keep eating like shit. I'm just joking. I'm trying to get healthy, so that's a joke. I'm trying to eat better and lose weight. For Russell, though, there was one unwelcome side effect. Kindness left her skint at first. I spent a lot of money in the first year, which wasn't sustainable. She says, claiming she threw too many fivers around in the Waterstones. So yeah, this is definitely in Britain. She acknowledges. Then she now acknowledges was also not what kindness was really about. In a sense, thought more holistically about altruism. Sorry about that. Masking away. Building it into her everyday life. She tries to be kind of a matter of routine, which is a lot better. It's a lot easier to be kind when it's natural. When you force it, it's not going to work. Okay. As a matter of routine to herself and others in nature, Russell regularly volunteers for the charity Tree of Cities. For example, planting saplings in her native city of London. Like mindfulness, kindness have become a popular trend in recent years. A raft of books, including Russell's, have been published on the topic in various organizations, including Kindness UK, the Kindness Offensive, which makes no sense how you be kind and offensive at the same time, and Compassion in Politics, now promote altruism in some form or another. There is also 52 Lives, a charity that was set up to change someone's life for the better every week of the year. It's based on the simple premise that people are good. Goes to Project Strapline, and lots of good people working together can achieve amazing things. We believe kindness has the power to change lives, and this is something I completely agree with. But are we inherently kind? I don't know about that. Watching the mainstream news may lead us to believe otherwise, which is why I'm trying to balance that out with a show like this. Humans are a social species and have lived together in social groups for millions of years. During that time, we've relied on each other to survive and thrive, assures Dr. Curry from 3. It's a very deep-seated, ancient impulse to work together. Kindness is a way of unlocking the power of cooperation. I'm going to screw up that last name, but I'm going to try anyway. Robin Banerjee, I'll go with that. Banerjee, professor of developmental psychology at the University of Sussex, agrees, but adds kindness is not black and white. We have the capacity to be kind and unkind. There's also a question of perception. Something that one person sees as kind may not be seen as kind by someone else, which is true. Something that may seem kind now might be kind in the long run, and something that may seem kind to one person might be rather unkind to others. A bit of a minefield then. Still, Jamie Thurston, author of Kindness, The Little Thing That Matters Most, and the founder of 52 Lives, reckon the kindest thing we can do for each other right now is to be present. I fear there's a lot of disconnection at the moment, something I definitely agree with. People spend a lot of time looking at their phones while they're supposed to be talking to each other or going out for dinner. Keep looking at your phone if you're watching this. I think that's one of the most unkind things you can do. Thurston is an advocate of factoring kindness into everything we do, whether that's looking at ourselves in the mirror, scanning for good points rather than bad, or interacting with each other. I think it's important to see kindness as a thread that runs to our whole life rather than little acts of kindness, she says. Kindness is about showing empathy, acceptance, and tolerance. It's a pretty long article. Let's see what it is. Oh man, this is a lot of stuff in there. Okay, let's keep going. Real quick, let me check in the chat. Still no one. That's okay. We've gone 14 minutes, so 14 minutes. Okay. According to Dr. John, the founders of the Gottman Institute, which studies relationships, all successful relationships are ultimately underpinned by kindness. The most important time to be kind, they claim, is during conflict. Oh my God. I wish everyone on earth could know this. I'm going to read this again. The most important time to be kind, they claim, is during conflict, such as an argument with a partner. It's obviously also the hardest time to be kind. So I think that's kind of a message about this show, and hopefully this character, Vigilante Williamson, as I do more work, is that right now in this era, the most difficult and necessary thing is to be kind to one another and remember that we're people. We're all humans, and believe it or not, and this is going to be hard to believe, no matter if you agree with someone or not, the majority of people do things because they genuinely believe it's the right thing to do. And I know that sounds crazy for what's going on in this world, but I think that's what people genuinely believe. People are more likely to be misguided than they are to be malicious. But back to the article. Okay. Kindness is about showing empathy, acceptance, and tolerance, explains Lawrence Stayanowski. We call him Lawrence, a Vancouver-based therapist who follows the principles of the Gottman Institute in his work. It's about being able to scan your partner for things and appreciate rather than criticize. The Gottman School of Thought posits that kindness shown during conflict leads to de-escalation of tension and a more satisfactory outcome for all parties. I'm going to read that one again. The Gottman School of Thought posits that kindness shown during conflict leads to de-escalation of tensions and a more satisfactory outcome for all parties. Again, kindness shown during conflict leads to a de-escalation of tensions and more satisfactory outcome for all parties. I wish everyone on earth could read that and understand that. Okay. You will not get people to accept your influence if you do not show kindness, shows Stayanowski. As soon as we're tearing each other apart and going for the throat, no one ever changes their mind. They definitely wrote this article for today, for like this whole era, right? So looking at the challenges we face from climate changes to Brexit, we're going to need people to be capable of changing their minds. Okay, now we're getting slightly political, which I try to stay away with, but then again, I guess a lot of my inferences were kind of political. We're going to need people to be capable of changing their minds. And I think that goes from both sides of whatever argument that is. However we treat each other determines the kind of community we live in, which determines the kind of country we live in, which determines the kind of world we live in, says Thurston. I believe kindness is one of the most powerful tools we have, and I cannot agree more. And there's a little bit more. Okay, let's read this last section as well. Kind look inside. What research reveals about how kindness affects our lives. Number one, kindness can accelerate the healing process. Healthcare delivered with kindness can hasten the healing process and shorten hospital stays. Those were amongst the findings of a 2014 report by Dignity Health, a U.S. healthcare company, and Stanford University Center Compassion's Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education. These names of these institutes, right? Which reviewed the scientific literature about the role of kindness in healthcare. The review linked kinder care with better information sharing, which led to a range of outcomes, including reduced pain, anxiety, and blood pressure. The study suggests that kind hospitals didn't just benefit patients, caregivers were also found to be more resilient. Right now, I'm looking for my glasses, which I can wear over this mask, and looks kind of goofy, but hopefully it's at least entertaining and funny. And I can't. They're probably not in this room, and I'm not about to leave just to go get them. Okay, so more notes about kindness. As you can see here, kindness helps. Kindness can help prevent disease. Having positive interaction with others can help fight disease, reckons experts at the University of North Carolina in 2013. Researchers there placed volunteers into two groups: an intervention group, which promoted positivity through loving kindness meditation, and an untreated control group. Those in the intervention group reported an increase in positive emotions compared to those in the control group, which researchers linked to a boost in their vagal tone. Okay. The vagus nerve regulates blood sugar. We talked about that earlier. The vagus nerve regulates blood sugar and helps the body prevent diabetes and heart disease. So, okay, kindness is linked to the vagus nerve. That's pretty cool. Altruism stimulates the reward area in our brains. So it's like a reward. That's why people say it's so rewarding. A recent study by the University of Sussex found that being kind, even when it seems to be nothing in it for us, activates the endorphin reward part of our brains. Psychologists analyzed existing research relating to the brain scans of more than 1,000 people as they made kind decisions. Researchers separated kindness into two forms: strategic, when someone expects something in return, and genuine, when they don't. The reward area of our brain was found to be more active during acts of strategic kindness. That's kind of fucked up. But pure altruism also appeared to fire up our gray matter, suggesting that we get a high on being kind. So I guess that's not quite positive. That's kind of messed up. So I guess it's more stimulating to kind of be snaky with your kindness than to be genuinely kind. But there is still stimulation for genuine kindness. So that's nice. Kind couples are more likely to go the distance. Hopefully they're more likely to stay together, because this world's crazy. But let's see. The U.S. psychological researcher Dr. John Gottman, one of the same guy from the Gottman Institute probably, claims that all successful relationships are underpinned by kindness, and the most important time to be kind is during the argument, which is it's the same guy, because the same logic. Dr. Gottman claims he can predict with 90% accuracy whether a relationship will succeed and fail based upon a couple's ability to manage conflict. I think most people can, right? The Gottman school of thought believes that kindness is not something you have or don't, but more like a muscle that needs to be exercised. I agree with that. Okay, kindness is a blind spot in public policy. A 2008 report by the Carnegie UK Trust reported what many of us sense, that kindness is lacking from our systems based upon Jesus. Yeah, that's what happens when you're reading through the math. It's hard to see, things get fuzzy. Okay, 2008 report by the Carnegie UK Trust reported that what many of us sense, that kindness is lacking from our systems-based approach to public policy. The report, Kindness, Emotions, and Human Relationships, the blind spot in public policy, finds that as technology transforms the way we do things, it is imperative that public policy focuses on emotional intelligence, something I couldn't agree with more. The Trust is currently working with North Ayrshire, these British names and British words, it's supposed to be English, but I speak American. North Ayrshire Council in Scotland to use kindness to help tackle poverty. I think the best way to be kind is to give money and give resources and give education for those needed and housing for those needing support. I think all of us in this day and age may risk being homeless, unfortunately. And so we love, support, and whatever else is going to be needed is going to be helped. I think kindness goes a long way, but a lot more is going to be needed. This is a cool story. This is a short one, thank God, because I've been butchering the English language all night. Residents of North Bay Road in Miami Beach gathered early Friday morning with signs and gifts as they waited for the local sanitation workers, Saul Scruggs and Keon Richardson, to arrive. So this is basically a local garbage men were brought to tears by a surprise party. This is nice. This nice neighborhood. You see everyone got their little mask on, the signs. Pretty cool. Scruggs and Richardson, who have never missed a day of work picking up trash in Miami Beach, thought they were just showing up to their regular collection route, but they weren't. The neighbors held a celebration of gratitude fit for the essential workers during the coronavirus pandemic. Even Miami Beach mayor was there to celebrate Scruggs and Richardson. We're here to celebrate our two sanitation workers who really just make our day brighter every day we see them, said resident Alan Weisberg. They do so much more than just pick up our trash. What is particularly special about these two men is the positive energy they bring with them. Jennifer Elegant wrote in the event's invitation, they always have smiles. If you know them, you love them. Mayor Guyver honored Scruggs and Richardson with a special declaration of appreciation. Scruggs had to fight back tears as he thanked everyone he taught me. I just want to be like him. Richardson says about his colleague. Okay, so he's talking about Scruggs. That's so nice. And here's a video. You can see my little nerdrotic stuff. I was actually watching Gary's stream before I started mine. It was still going. I'm not sure if it's still going.
Essential workers during the pandemic are more than just healthcare workers and those who work in restaurants. They are our grocers, our pharmacists, and even those.
I hope I don't get a copyright strike.
Local 10's
Strike for this, but I just want to show this.
Simply wanted to say thank you.
Residents of North Bay Road on Miami Beach woke up early Friday morning with their signs and gifts.
That's really cool.
No birthday or graduation surprise.
Well, we're here to celebrate two of our sanitation workers who just really make our day brighter every day when we see them.
Saul Scruggs and Keon Richardson make their way down this block twice a week. But today, Cheers welcomed this friendly duo, and clearly they can't believe it.
Every time we see you, you boost our moods. There are people here today that you don't even collect their trash, and they're here because you affect them.
Their managers, supervisors, and even the mayor of Miami Beach also among the crowd of supporters.
Really
with a special
cool.
declaration of appreciation.
Pandemic, I guess, can bring out the worst in people or can bring out the best in people, and they wanted to express some thanks to them today, and I think that's wonderful.
That's cool.
And Saul and Keon clearly feel the love.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I mean, without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. I swear. I mean, thank you. I mean,
that's super dope. Oh, man,
everything he's taught me. Just want to be like him. Another song. Learn from him.
It's nice to get together. We have the time and to do something for people who help us.
To be honest, the world would be a better place if more people behaved like Saul and Keon.
Saul and Keon have never missed a day of work, even during the pandemic. And we also want to salute them for taking care of our community. In the newsroom, Alexis Frazier, Local 10 News.
That's why I'm glad I do this show. Even if nobody watches this, I'm glad I do this show so I can see stories like that, right? Because it's just, that's the point, you know. See kind of just working class guys who just go do their job, and to see them basically honored for doing their job. That's really dope. That's the type of energy I'm trying to put out in the world, just positive energy. And I'm going to read one last story. I'm going to check my laptop, see if anyone showed up. If not, cool. That's cool. Oh, bumping into mics. That's what happens when you're a ghetto ass boomer live streamer who can't even talk into the damn mic all the damn time. All right, let's see where I'm at. Alrighty. Still no one. It's still cool. All right, I'm not going to check anymore. I'm going to get through this last story. It's pretty cool. And then we're going to probably do some videos. I might do some videos. I'm thinking about talking about The Last of Us, which everyone else has talked about, but I want to give my perspective. It's a little bit different than everyone else's. Not sure if I'll do anything else tonight, but let's finish up this story, and then I'll say my goodbye. MIT creates a robot that uses UVC light to disinfect warehouses. We need to keep shared spaces free of coronavirus and other pathogens. Again, I'm not going to be political into the whole coronavirus thing, but I think this is still a cool story. And other pathogens. But sending people into these spaces to clean exposes them to the possibility of getting sick. Researchers at MIT might just have the solution that can keep everyone safe. A UVC Light equipped robot. UVC Light is capable of disinfecting surfaces and neutralizing aerosol virus particles. Excuse me, that was rude. But it's dangerous for humans to be exposed. With this in mind, MIT Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, CSAIL, teamed up with Ava Robotics to develop a robot that could travel through and disinfect spaces autonomously. The partners added a custom UVC light fixture designed by CSAIL to Ava Robotics' mobile robot base. That's cool to have a mobile robot base. They deployed the prototype at the Greater Boston Food Bank, GBFB. The robot drove through GBFB's warehouse about 0.22 miles an hour. At that speed, it could cover about 4,000 square feet, the entire warehouse, in half an hour. That's awesome. And neutralize approximately 90% of coronavirus particles on surfaces. The researchers believe the approach could be used to autonomously disinfect environments like factories, restaurants, food markets, and supermarkets, and schools. It shows where my head is. The system is capable of mapping a given space and can navigate between waypoints and other specified areas. UVC Light has been capturing quite some attention since the coronavirus first broke out. A lot of negative attention, if you remember all the news stories from when it first started. New York's MTA is currently testing UV light boxes as a way of disinfecting subways and buses. It's also been used to clean humidifiers and airplane bathrooms. Do not lick the toilet seats in airplane bathrooms. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. This is the second episode. This is also a cool story. I know, at least me, I'm scared of Skynet. It was good to see AI could be used for something positive, and this is pretty cool. Regardless how you feel about the coronavirus and how it's handled, I'll probably talk about that in a separate video because I want to keep this show like a really happy, positive space. Sorry about that. Happy, positive space. I think that's really cool that we are using technology for something positive because Lord knows we do not always do that. Alrighty, that'll be it. So, my name's Vigilante Williamson. That's not my name on my birth certificate, obviously. I'm just a weirdo in a mask. This mask doesn't represent anything. It's just a mask. I don't want to show my face, and I like the idea of coming up with like a character. I also do music. Let me see if I can show some of my keyboards. So there's a couple keyboards. That's Roland JX8P. It's Alpha Juno, and then I have a ton of VSTs and some analog synths that I'm not going to show you because my room's kind of junky. So I also want to do some music. I'm probably going to do some music live stream videos this weekend for the 4th and just do a bunch of content. I'm really happy to be in this content creator space. I appreciate anyone who's watching this in the future or the past or the present or whatever. Thank you again. I do this show as a palate cleanser, and it's a palate cleanser for me. And if anyone watches, that's great. Just to remind you that the world, no matter how bad it seems, is not all bad, and that people, no matter what you think, are trying to be good. That at the end of the day, we all want to do the right thing, and be a little more patient, be a little more understanding, and know that the world is not a terrible place. So thank you for joining me for this episode, or if you're watching this in the future, in the past, thank you again.